The Innova Crysta, it's a case study in itself. It's so successful that so many brands have tried to replicate its success, namely the Mahindra Marazzo and the Maruti Suzuki Ertiga. But every time they think about increasing the prices, they fear rejection, not the Toyota. Now this particular top-of-the-line version costs close to about 30 lakh rupees. And to imagine that when it was launched all those years back, it was under 10 lakh rupees, today's pricing seems a little ridiculous. But it still works because everybody wants one. You want one, your uncle and aunt want one, even your grandparents want one. So what is that makes the Innova click? So here are a list of things that work in the Innova's favor and a couple that don't. The top-of-the-line ZX trim in the Innova Crysta can be had as a 7-seater. So you've got 2 captain seats in the front, you've got 2 captain seats in the second row, and you've got 2 seats which act as a 3-seater in the last row. Now the seats, the 4 seats that you see in the first and second row, you have large seat bases, you have a large seat back, you've got good bolstering on the side, they have nice cushioning to them, and you can spend long hours. Ditto for the second row. Now the third row is a 3-seater, so even the middle passenger gets a 3-point seat belt. The middle passenger also gets an adjustable headrest. So in terms of safety, it's really well sorted. But we'd say it is best used as a 2-seater because otherwise you get really cramped 3 aside. And for the 2 passengers that remain, the seats are not as comfortable as the front and the second row, but you can spend time in them. And if it's a really long journey, then it'll be best that you get the second row guys to move around and take your place in the last row. Then it works. Space-wise, there's decent enough head and knee room for the occupants in the last row. And for the rest, well, there's space by the truckload. Headroom, knee room or shoulder room, you name it, and there's excess of it. The Innova isn't just great at transporting people, it's also practical in other ways. Take the boot for instance. If you just have 4 people and a lot of luggage, the last row can be folded up, liberating enough and more space to throw in many bags. And if there are just 2 people and not a lot of luggage and no hotels in the vicinity, well, drop the second row, roll out a mattress and you are set. Besides luggage, the Innova Crysta is also reasonably easy to get in and out of for the first 2 rows. And even the last row doesn't need gymnast credentials to get into. Moreover, there's place to put your coffee, your water bottle, your wallet, cell phone and other knickknacks you might have on you. And in the ZX trim here, there are other comfort and convenience features too. You get keyless entry and start, reversing parking sensors with camera, electrically adjustable driver's seat, a cooled glove box, one touch up and down for all 4 windows and automatic headlamps among other things. Now, over the years, Toyota and Innova engines in particular have proven to be fantastic when it comes to reliability. You can find examples with lakhs and lakhs of kilometers and no engine rebuild inside. The 2.8 is of the same mold, only with more power and torque. So this one makes a little over 170 horsepower and a handsome 316 Newton meters of torque. So that means even though the Innova Crysta is a heavy car, this 2.8 liter engine, it doesn't let it feel lethargic. So every time you get on the throttle, there's enough go to pull you along. Now this engine comes mated to a 6-speed automatic gearbox. It's not the best torque converter in the business, not with it being lazy in its up and down shifts. But we'd still prefer this over the manual version of the Innova Crysta. And that's because the manual comes mated to a smaller, less interesting diesel engine. Now this automatic, you can choose to shift manually. You don't get any pedal shifters on the steering. But you can go up and down the gearbox using the stick shift. We, however, didn't feel the need to do it. Not very often at least. Now this engine and gearbox combo works well on the highways and for intercity travel as well. So the engine's got enough grunt to pull you through, to help make quick overtakes. It's got grunt throughout the RPM range. and especially between 2.5 and 3,500 RPM, it absolutely comes alive. So if you're on a 2-lane highway and you want to make a quick overtake, all you have to do is stamp on the accelerator. It takes a little time for the gearbox to kick down, but once it's on, it just shoots ahead, so you can feel that torque coming in. Now the Innova also gets to 100 kilometers per hour in pretty quick time, and once you're there in 6th gear, the engine's barely turning over 1500 RPM, so things are quiet, it's unhurried, non-demanding, and you can put many kilometers without tiring yourself out. So the Innova uses a body-on-ladder construction, which means it's not going to win any ride and handling competitions. But on the highway, whether you're tackling bumps, undulations, you're changing lanes, even at triple-digit speeds, the Innova doesn't exactly lose its composure. So it's pretty flat and planted in that sense. Now, when it comes to cornering, the Innova isn't the sharpest tool around, so it rolls. And it takes time to settle in after it's into the corner. And if the corner is bumpy, you will feel the rear skip about a little. But does it feel scary? Does it make you want to throw up? No, it's just not a very involving tool around the corner, but it'll go about doing its business. So a people's carrier does its job. Now the Innova and Toyota are one of the strongest brand names in the automotive market, and they've earned it. You take reliability, you take ownership experience, and you can't really fault them. No wonder we don't mind paying so much for this MPV. And the cool part is that when you go and sell this after years and years of owning the car and enjoying it, you may actually get a lot of what you've spent back. Well, don't take my word for it. Ask the various first-generation Innova owners. They're selling the car and walking back with a hefty lot of cash. Now, I know I keep circling back to the price of the Innova, but for me, that is the elephant in the room. I know it doesn't affect too many people because people keep buying the Innova left, right, or center. But for a car that's almost rupees 30 lakhs, you expect some things to come as standard, like a serene, quiet, vibe-free, pampering drive experience or feel. The Innova doesn't give you that. It has a loud engine. You can feel all the mechanical workings through the steering and the pedals. And even though the suspension on the Innova is tuned or set up to iron out almost everything, big bumps, ditches, etc., but you can constantly hear and feel it. You'll feel it jiggle, slow speed or high. And then as you go faster, you'll get wind noise, you'll get tire noise. And the Innova just fails to give you that quiet, cocooned, luxurious feel which you expect in a car costing 30 lakh rupees. Okay, I'm back with the price, rupees 30 lakhs or thereabouts. That's what this MPV costs. But the Innova's interiors, they don't exude the same lushness. The look and feel of plastic all around can barely match those of premium hatchbacks. There's no soft touch plastic, and the operability doesn't exactly give you the feeling of engineering finesse you expect in cars that cost this high. The Innova also misses out on a few features, and the ones that it packs in could have been better executed. Take the multimedia touchscreen for instance. It doesn't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and it looks like it belongs to a generation gone by. The Innova has its negatives, but they aren't big enough to eclipse its list of merits. Now, these merits include reliability, resale, comfort, practicality, snob value even, and a decent set of features. Now, they aren't the best set of features that you can get, but they are decent nonetheless. And if you want to pack in 6 or 7 people and go all around the country, well, the Innova does that too. So unless you don't like MPVs, or like me, you can't afford it, there's no reason not to buy the Innova. And if you're buying one, we recommend get yourself the automatic.